Okay, everybody, my name is Dr. Shoaib Khan. I'm a dentist in the Chicago suburbs. I'm conducting this meeting with my staff and I'm recording it for the benefit of everybody, whoever gets to see this. And we're going to be discussing some important information about what's going on, what's this coronavirus, COVID-19, and how it's impacting us in our lives and what we need to do both as health professionals and as individuals in the community. So, first order of business is, what is this virus? What's going on? I think everybody knows that there's this disease that's spreading and it's a concern and people are getting sick, but why is it such a big deal? It's such a big deal because it spreads really fast and its effect is 10 to 15 times worse than the common flu. So if the common flu has a mortality rate, it's a number you may hear on the news a lot, mortality rate of 0.1%. So 0.1% of people that get the flu end up dying. This disease has a mortality rate of 1 to 2% as far as what the numbers are showing right now. So just off the bat, it is 10 to 20 times more deadly than the common flu. The second reason of concern is how fast it's spreading. We can see through the news and through all these live maps that we see online that this virus started in China in, some reports say, late November or December at some point, and now early March it's in almost every part of the world. Obviously people are carrying these germs and handing it off to other people. The point of concern, the biggest point of concern with this disease is that there are people who get infected, have no symptoms, but are carrying the virus and spreading it to other people. Reports are suggesting that that number is is around 2.3. So one person that gets infected infects another 2.3 people. The reports out of New York saying that one person they were able to trace 100 infections back to that one person.
Oh my gosh.
And so there's a lot of unknown spread going on because of the incubation period being the time when the person gets exposed to the virus to the point that they actually know that they have a disease or a problem. That period is anywhere from 3 to 6 days, according to experts. And so for 3 to 6 days, someone is carrying this virus around with them and giving it to other people. And there's another number called R0. R0 is the doubling time, the time in which the number of infected people double. And for this disease, that number is anywhere from 3 to 6 days. So we can expect that if left unchecked, this disease, the number of infected people, will double every 3 to 6 days. So obviously that's a concern. Why? Because as the number of infected people grow, that tiny mortality rate of 1 to 2%, which seems tiny, oh, it's just 1 to 2%, right? But that number, when the number of infected people are in the thousands or in the tens of thousands or in the hundreds of thousands, that number becomes unfathomably large, more than what any country's health system can accommodate. So currently the count, this is, what's the date today, March 16th?
Yes.
What time is it?
11:01.
Okay, so we just checked online, 11:01 March 16th, number of confirmed cases in the US is 3,813. So how do we know these are confirmed cases? Because these are people that developed symptoms, were significant enough that they ended up going to the hospital, were tested, and we found out that they have this disease. So then the question that we need to ask is, what percentage of people that get this disease actually end up needing medical help, right? And the numbers are suggesting that that's somewhere around 15%. 15% of people who get this virus will have a severe enough episode where they will need medical help. So right now that number is 3,813. So I just did the math. According to that, there are 571,950 infected people out there right now. And what did we just discuss with the R naught? That number is going to double in 3 to 6 days. And then it's going to double again in 3 to 6 days. And what happens when the healthcare system gets overloaded? No more beds, no more equipment, and most important thing, the most vital asset that we have in this fight is the trained caregivers, those healthcare professionals. They get exhausted, they get overwhelmed, or God forbid, they get infected themselves. If you take one of those people out, it is very difficult to replace them. You can't get them back. What happens to all the other life-threatening illnesses that are going on? Those don't stop, right? Heart attack patients, cancer patients, pregnancies, deliveries, all that still has to be taken care of. This is a nightmare scenario that we do not want to encounter in our country or anywhere in the world. So what can we do? We can fix this. When I say we, I'm not talking about the people in this room. I'm talking about every single person out there can fix this. How do we know we can fix this? Because there are countries like South Korea, there are countries like Singapore that got ahead of it. And they broke that chain of transmission, and they broke that chain of spread. And how did they do it? 3 things: personal hygiene, social distancing, and self-isolation. This is the cure. This is the key to fix this problem. And every single one of us can do it. All we have to do is prepare, stay at home. Only those people that are needed for essential services should go out so that the rest of the community can stay functioning. Which is why we shut our offices down today, and we're going through this training, and we're going to set ourselves up and prepare ourselves in our office so that if there is an emergency patient, that they can get care with us, an emergency dental patient can get care with us without having to go to the ER or further burdening an already strained healthcare system. So I want to first talk about personal hygiene, okay? And we see this ad nauseum on the TV: wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. But what we're not seeing is the need to visualize the virus. I want all of us to start putting on a set of goggles where we can imagine that we can actually see this thing where it is. So why is social distancing so important? Why is it so important to stay 6 feet away from another person?
So if we're carrying it.
It's because everyone that has the virus is carrying it around in their nose and throat, and every time they breathe out, they're spraying that virus out, and they're carrying it around in a plume of 6 feet of space all around them. So every person you see out there, I want you to imagine a 6 feet bubble around them, and that's the space that you cannot invade. Because within that space, you are likely or possible to inhale the virus and get infected yourself. So this way of thinking and this way of visualizing the virus is very important, because when we go out there, everybody's panicked and everybody's afraid and everybody's in a frenzy and just trying to get what they can to survive, and we are defeating the purpose. You know, we're being counterproductive, we're being counterintuitive. If we want to protect ourselves, then keep your distance from the person next to you. Why is that so important? Because only the people that are actually developing symptoms are getting tested right now. We don't know out in the general population who's carrying this and who isn't. So what's the safest way? Assume everybody is infected. And I don't want to alarm people, but if we're going to defeat this thing, we have to start thinking this way, that everybody that we come in contact with is carrying the virus and that we need to keep a safe distance from them. Hand hygiene, hand washing is absolutely effective. It's the best way to get rid of the virus, but it's not just washing your hands. The second you leave your house and you start touching things, your hands could potentially be carrying the virus. Everything you touch after that is also potentially getting contaminated. So if you touch your phone, touch your car keys, touch cash or your credit card or your pocketbook, your steering wheel, your gear shifting knob, the door handle, the doorknob to your house, everything that you're touching is then potentially getting contaminated. And so what we need to build is a train of thought in our mind that once we leave the house, we have to be really careful of what we touch. And once we touch a surface that could potentially be contaminated, we need to keep track of everything else that we're touching after that point, so that we can come back and disinfect those areas with a disinfectant wipe, soap and water, or at least be aware that when we go back inside the house, that everything that we took with us outside, your phone, your keys, your pocketbook, your money, your cash, your credit card, disinfect everything when you get home. When you get home, change your clothes, wash your hands, wash your face, rinse out your nose, gargle your throat. Is this a little bit overkill? No. You can't be too cautious. You can't be too protective for yourself, for your family, for your community, for everything that's out there. And so hand washing, hand hygiene is super important, but we need to take it one step further, and we need to be mindful and cognizant of everything that we're touching when our hands are potentially getting contaminated. Right? So after going through all this social distancing and hand hygiene, I hope that everybody understands how simple, effective, and easy it is to just isolate yourself. It's just not worth the risk. It's just so much safer to stay indoors. The sooner we all start adapting to this new norm, the quicker this thing is going to get behind us, the sooner we're going to be okay. So this is the most important message that I wanted to share with all of you and with everybody that's watching this video. So then how do we prepare? If we're going to be shut in, how do we prepare? Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is food, water, all your essentials. How much should we be stocking up? Do we need 146 rolls of toilet paper? No, you want to be prepared for 2 to 4 weeks. There's no need to panic. There's no indication that there's any kind of supply shortages or food or grocery shortages. No, the reason we see the stores shelves empty is because everybody's panic buying. They just can't restock it quickly enough. They can't bring this stuff quickly enough in because people are buying more than what they need. We have to stop doing that. We have to understand that we're all in this together. We can't survive this all on our own. We have to look out for each other, look out for our neighbors, look out for our friends and family, band together to get through this. There's no way you're doing this on your own. So 2 to 4 weeks of food supplies. You want to have stuff that you would normally consume for your normal diet. And then you also want to have stuff you want to prepare as if you're going to come down, God forbid, with a nasty flu bug. So the stuff that you would normally keep for that, your Kleenexes, your soups, light easy meals that are soothing and are healing when you have the flu. Those are the kind of things you want to have on hand. Fever reducers, pain relievers like Tylenol. I just read some reports, credible news outlets, but there's just still news reports that some doctors in France reported that these patients didn't respond well to non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, and those are your aspirins, your ibuprofens, your Advils. So they're recommending you stay away from that. So Tylenol really is the best alternative. Now again, how much Tylenol do you need? Do you need to clear out the shelf? No. 1 to 2 bottles, enough for your family. Now if you have children in the house, then you need to pick up the children's variety of these medicines. Your cough or cold medicines, NyQuils, DayQuils, that kind of stuff. Supplements. Now there's a lot of debate out there, people are posting, oh, this doesn't work or that doesn't work. If it has the potential to help you feel better or get better, things like vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, honey, lemon, if there isn't enough data out there, it doesn't mean it doesn't help you feel better. You know, there's a placebo effect sometimes. You take these things and you think you're getting better. There's no harm in having those things around. What you want to have also is trash cans that have a lid on them that can be operated through a foot pedal, trash bags. And this is in the event that, God forbid, someone in your house does come down with something. Don't panic. Okay, we already went through the numbers. Majority of the people that do get sick recover on their own. And that's what the government and the hospital is recommending too, that if you do get sick, write it out in your own home. And only if you start developing symptoms of a high fever that's not getting controlled, a dry, unproductive cough, body aches, and difficulty breathing. These are the 4 signs where you would want to seek help. So why was the trash can and the trash bags important? Because if someone does come down in the house, they should be moved to a well-ventilated and a somewhat isolated area, and the trash bag and trash cans are necessary for them to dispose their waste into, so that we don't have a chain of infection, a chain of spread that can spread through the rest of the household. So disinfectants, you know, if it's not a disinfectant, just regular cleaners is good enough to wipe surfaces and clean them of the virus. Just soap and water works, if you can imagine how simple and easy that is. So that is all you need. You don't need industrial strength, you know, disinfectants to get rid of the virus. Simple soap and water will work. So, you know, this is a weird time. Obviously, we've never seen anything like this. We've never seen a response to anything like this. But it is in the hands of every single one of us to be able to fix this. We can fix this. We don't have to wait for the government to fix this. We don't have to wait for the healthcare industry to develop a vaccine to fix this. We can get a handle on this, and we've seen it being done effectively in the countries that I mentioned. So this is the information that I wanted to get out to everybody out there. And to our patients, I want to apologize for this sudden interruption, but we're here for you. I'm here for you. And if you do have an emergency, you know how to reach me, and that I will make myself available for anything that may be needed. We just have to shut down for at least a few days so we can get the requisite supplies, the requisite protective equipment that we need to be able to provide the emergency care that you guys may need in a way that is safe for the community, for you, and for my staff. God bless all of us.